Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. The Council of Kangs declares war. It didn't end with Kang the Conqueror's defeat, it began with it. In the aftermath of the Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, a hidden force reveals itself. The Council of Kangs, thousands of variants, each from a different timeline, gather in secret, not to mourn their fallen, but to prepare for war. Because where one Kang dies, the others respond. This moment marks the first open declaration of the multiversal war. These aren't scattered villains, this is a governing body of conquerors, each one capable of collapsing timelines, rewriting history, and erasing threats before they rise. Their goal is simple: control the flow of reality. Anything or anyone, Avengers, sorcerers, even gods, who disrupt their order, must be removed. And in their eyes, Earth's heroes are the most dangerous anomaly of all. Since Endgame, the multiverse has been unraveling. Time travel, nexus events, cross-dimensional incursions. The Avengers broke the timeline. The Council of Kangs is here to restore it, by any means necessary. This moment changes the trajectory of the entire saga. It sets up the rise of Kang Dynasty. It connects directly to Loki's multiversal crisis, and it turns the multiverse from a playground into a battlefield. One Kang fell, but his defeat was the signal, and the war has already begun. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Rocket becomes captain. The galaxy didn't get quieter. The old Guardians just got tired. Peter left, Drax found peace, Mantis walked away. And in the middle of all that emotional closure, one talking raccoon stepped forward and said, "Fine, I'll run the team." Rocket Raccoon, genetically engineered, cybernetically enhanced, emotionally unavailable, became the new leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And for once, the universe felt kind of okay with that. This wasn't just a role change, this was a tactical evolution. A new lineup forms: Adam Warlock, basically a confused golden god; Phyla-Vell, young, fast, unstable; Kraglin with Yondu's arrow; Cosmo, the psychic dog; and Groot, who's clearly been hitting the cosmic gym. Rocket's rise to captain didn't come from power, it came from pain. He earned it. Every scar, every loss, every sarcastic outburst, that was training. This moment matters because space isn't getting safer. It's about to collapse under incursions, mutant conflicts, and Kang's upcoming multiversal fireworks show. And someone has to watch the stars while the Avengers are stuck fixing timelines. And let's face it, if you had to trust anyone with a talking tree, a psychic dog, and a celestial child, it's going to be the gun-toting raccoon with the trauma. But what happens when this team picks up a distress signal from a universe that shouldn't exist? Secret Invasion. Earth declares war on Skrulls. In Secret Invasion, Nick Fury came back from space, found out his house was on fire, and tried to put it out with a wet matchstick. Secret Invasion wasn't about heroes saving the world. It was about Earth's leaders proving they learned nothing from 5 phases of galactic diplomacy. After Gravik's failed coup and the loss of Maria Hill, Earth's first response wasn't negotiation. It was public execution. President Ritson declared all Skrulls enemies of the state. Not just rebels, not just terrorists, all of them. The result? Panic. Armed militias. Entire cities looking sideways at their neighbors, just in case they blinked the wrong way. This wasn't just a local policy shift. It fractured the uneasy alliance Earth had with alien refugees. And it created a new enemy class. Not because they attacked, but because they existed. Superhero teams? Busy. The Avengers? Disbanded. So Earth did what it does best: panic and blame someone else. In other words, Earth went full Twitter. Shoot first, question identity later. This event lays the groundwork for Thunderbolts, Armor Wars, and potentially mutant registration. It also tells us something darker. Earth is no longer the innocent planet in the multiverse. It's becoming the most dangerous. Now, this is where things get interesting, and if you're not paying attention, you'll miss how everything connects and what comes next. The Marvels. The X-Men officially exist. For years, Marvel dropped hints. Words like mutation, a musical sting here, a cameo there. But in the TV series The Marvels, they didn't tease it. They said it. At the end of the Marvels, Monica Rambeau finds herself in a completely different reality, one with advanced tech, familiar faces, and a scientist with blue fur and perfect diction. That's not just any lab assistant, that's Beast, officially confirming the presence of Charles Xavier's world in the MCU multiverse. With this moment, the line between the Fox X-Men legacy and Marvel Studios canon is gone. We're not waiting for mutants anymore, they're already here. And of course, out of all the timelines Monica could have landed in, she got the one with a talking mutant who reads Shakespeare and throws tanks. This moment shifts the entire MCU forward. Mutants are now confirmed as part of the multiverse, making crossover events, reboots, or full integrations possible. It also adds a wild card into the Kang saga, because if timelines are colliding, the X-Men aren't just visitors, they're players. Loki Season 2. Loki becomes the god of time. Since, at the end of time, someone had to stay behind. In Loki Season 2, the timeline begins to rot. Branches collapse, realities fade, and the one person who tried to run from destiny becomes the one holding it all together. Loki takes He Who Remains' throne, but not for power. He reshapes the timeline into something new, a glowing, living world tree. And he holds it there, alone, forever. This isn't a metaphor. Loki doesn't become a king, he becomes the keystone of the entire multiverse. Every reality, every branching possibility, all of it resting on one god who finally chose purpose over survival. So yes, Thor got muscles, Loki got eternal cosmic tree duty. Seems fair. This is the single most selfless act in the MCU, and nobody even knows he's there. The next time timelines glitch or multiverses collide, remember, it's because Loki is still holding the branches together. Echo. Kingpin runs for mayor. In The Echo, Wilson Fisk survived a bullet to the face and decided politics was safer than crime. In the final moments of Echo, Fisk, still bruised, still dangerous, sets his sights not on the underworld, but on City Hall. He doesn't want to control the city through fear anymore, he wants to be the system. And once he gets there, masks will be outlawed, vigilantes will be targets, and the law will be whatever he says it is. This isn't just a power grab, it's the start of a new kind of war. A war where heroes can't punch their way through the problem because the bad guy has legal authority. And the first ones in his sights? Daredevil, Echo, probably Spider-Man, and anyone else who tries to stop him without a badge. You know things are bad when New York looks at a known crime lord and goes, he can't be worse than the last guy. But what happens when Mayor Fisk starts writing laws that heroes can't afford to follow? Before we get into that, here's a recap on what we went over so far. So far, we've seen a multiverse war declared, a new Guardians team take flight, the Skrull crisis spiral out of control, mutants confirmed in another universe, Loki sacrificing everything to hold time together, and Kingpin trading blood for ballots. 6 events in, and the MCU is already unrecognizable. But if you thought things were bad, you haven't seen what happens when Deadpool gets involved. Jumping back in, we have Deadpool and Wolverine entering the MCU. The TVA, which stands for Time Variance Authority, is a multiversal organization introduced in Loki on Disney Plus in 2021. It was designed to keep timelines stable. Then Deadpool showed up, and everything went off script. In Deadpool and Wolverine, the fourth wall isn't broken. It's demolished. Deadpool escapes the Fox universe, dragging Wolverine through a collapsing continuity and straight into Earth 616. This isn't a simple cameo, this is a full-scale multiversal intrusion. Legacy characters, old timelines, deleted story arcs, they're all on the table now. With this move, the MCU gains 2 things. 1, an unpredictable wildcard with a time-hopping device and 0 respect for structure. 2, a direct portal to every film Marvel didn't originally produce, but now technically owns. The multiverse saga just got a very loud new protagonist, and the TVA probably regrets not pruning him when they had the chance. To be fair, if anyone's going to punch through the sacred timeline in the face, it was always going to be Deadpool. Captain America, Brave New World. The Red Hulk emerges. Thaddeus Ross spent years hunting the Hulk. Now, he becomes one. In Captain America: Brave New World, the US president, already under pressure from rising global threats, decides to level the playing field by transforming into a gamma-powered Red Hulk. This isn't a rogue experiment. This is a world leader turning himself into a weapon of mass destruction, on purpose. The emergence of Red Hulk marks a turning point in the power hierarchy. Super soldiers are no longer rare. They're political tools. And Sam Wilson's Captain America now has to face not just a stronger opponent, but a symbol of unchecked government power. Oh, and if that's not enough, Ross also reveals the existence of adamantium. Yes, the metal tied to Wolverine. And no, the world isn't ready for that arms race either. So there goes 8 core events that cracked the MCU wide open. But Phase 5 isn't just over yet. 2 final stories remain, both arriving at the very edge of the timeline. They weren't just add-ons, they're Phase 5's final warning shots. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss how they connect to everything that comes next. The Thunderbolts arise. Earth needs heroes, so they made their own. In Thunderbolts, a team of operatives too unstable for the Avengers is deployed into the unknown. Yelena, Bucky, Taskmaster, Red Guardian, Ghost, US Agent. The press calls them heroes. The government calls them assets. The rest of the world probably calls them an accident waiting to happen. Their mission: enter the void and recover a lost experiment. What they find is Sentry, a being with god-level power, and a violent alter ego known as the Void. It's not a battle, it's a survival test. The team barely makes out alive, but Valentina flips the narrative. They save the day, they're national icons, and now she calls them the New Avengers. Technically, they're not the Avengers, but branding's never been a strong suit in this universe anyway. But what happens when the real Avengers return and find someone else wearing their name? Ironheart. Tech vs. magic in Chicago. While the multiverse fractures and governments weaponize Hulks, another war is brewing. Not in space, not in time, but in Chicago. In Ironheart, Riri Williams, genius inventor and Stark's spiritual successor, goes up against Parker Robbins, also known as the Hood, a street-level villain using dark dimension magic to wage supernatural warfare. This isn't just science versus sorcery, it's tech versus ancient power on mutants, monsters, imposters, and politics. Phase 5 wasn't a setup, it was a series of detonations. And now the timeline isn't just fractured, it's vulnerable. Which Phase 5 moment blew your mind the most? Drop your take in the comments, and if you're ready for Phase 6, hit that subscribe button. See you later.